5.3 multiplying fractions. The product of two or more fractions is equal to the product of the numerators divided by the product of the denominators. Essentially what you were doing is you were taking 2 times 7 in the numerators, so you're multiplying straight across, 5 times 9 in the denominators, and make it into a fraction. 2 times 7 is 14, 5 times 9 is 45. That is your answer. Remember, you always do need to simplify if possible. The algebra just tells you it works with any number as long as b and d in your denominators are not 0. Let's try example 1. Now be careful with these negatives. I actually just take the negatives and put them in the numerator, because as long as you see one negative, the whole fraction is negative. So now you multiply straight across. Negative 3 times negative 5 and 4 times 8. Remember that the product of two numbers with the same sign is positive. So you are going to have positive 15 and 4 times 8 is 32. That is your answer. Simplify if you can. In this case, you can't. For part B, put the negative with the 2 in the numerator. Now again, we are multiplying straight across. Negative 2 times 9 and 3 times 10. Before you get the answer, you actually can divide out common factors. Before I show you this box at the bottom, let me show you how to do that. Look at your numerator and look at your denominators. Is there anything that can divide out by both of them? For example, 10 and 2 both divide by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 equals negative 1. I like to circle that so I know I'm done with that. And 10 divided by negative 2 is 5. Just like 9 and 3 both divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that's what they do in this next box. Now instead of doing negative 2 times 9 and 3 times 10, you can do negative 1 times 3, which is negative 3, and 1 times 5, which is 5. We do this because now your answer is already simplified. If you do not divide out common factors, you are going to get an answer that needs to be simplified. And sometimes you can get really big numbers, and it's going to take you a while to get to the simplified answer. Like you can see, I can divide by 2 to both of these. I get negative 9 over 15. Well, it's still not simplified. And again, you will lose points if you do not simplify to the lowest, simplest form. Divide by 3, you get negative 3, and finally you can see we are at the same answer that we got before. And if you would have stopped right here, you would have gotten points taken off. So dividing out common factors may be your best bet, so you're not working with these large numbers. In example 2, you're multiplying mixed numbers. A completed puzzle is 31 1/4 inches long and 18 2/5 inches wide. What is the area of the puzzle? Well, remember, area is length times width. So we are multiplying both mixed numbers together. When you multiply mixed numbers together, make sure that you are writing them as improper fractions. To refresh your memory, we take the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. I call it around the world. So 31 times 4 plus 1 is 125. Keep the denominator 4. 18 times 5 plus 2 is 92 over the denominator 5. Now we can use the rule for multiplying fractions, which is just multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators. Remember, it's going to make your life easier if you divide out common factors. You should notice that 125 and 5 both end in 5, so they both divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 125 divided by 5 is 25. Again, that's what they are going to do in this box right here, but I want to show you before they give the answer. 4 and 92 both divide by at least 2, so let's use that. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 92 divided by 2 is 46. Now don't circle anything yet, because you can still divide out another 2. So we could have just done divided by 4. This is 1, and 46 divided by 2 is 23. Again, that's the same thing they're going to put in this box. Now you can see the only things that we're multiplying together is 25 times 23 and 1 times 1. 25 times 23 is 575. That's it. That's your answer. Because you did dividing out common factors, it's already simplified. Otherwise, you would have gotten, if you didn't divide out common factors, you would have gotten a large number, and let me show you, 11,500 in your numerator and 20 in your denominator. And now you need to change that into a mixed number or a whole number. So it's a little easier if you divide out common factors. For the guided practice, make sure you are pausing the video and try it yourself. Then unpause the video so you can check your answers. Number 1, be careful. This 18 is a fraction over 1. So we can do 11 times 18 over 12 times 1. Divide out common factors. 12 and 18 both divide by 3. You can also do 2, but I'm going to do 3. And that's going to make 6 and 4. 6 and 4 actually divide by 2. So that's 3 and 2. So now you have 33, 11 times 3, and 2 times 4. 2 times 1, excuse me. And 33 over 2 you need to make into a mixed number. So bring down the 33. And 2 goes into 33 16 times. You're left with 1. So 16 and a half is your answer. Number 2, multiply straight across. You can even see you can divide out common factors first. Divide by 2. This is 1. This is 1. Watch the negative, too. Make sure you put that negative up there. Negative 2 over 3. Be careful about that negative. You'll lose points if you don't put the right sign. We have to change this to improper. So we have negative 31, because 3 times 10 plus 1. The negative just bring down. Do not do 10 times negative 3. Just bring down the negative. And it's over 10. And then negative 5, so I'm going to bring up that negative, over 8. Divide out common factors. Each divide by 5. Negative 1. And 8 and 31 do not. So we have positive 31. 2 negatives make a positive over 16. Make it into a mixed number. And you have 1 and 15 sixteenths. Number 4, improper fraction. 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. Times 9 times 1 plus 2, 11 over 9. Divide out common factors. Both divide by 3. You have 11 over 6. Make it into a mixed number. Goes in ones. You have 1 and 5 sixths as your answer. Example 3, we're going to evaluate a variable expression. So we have x times y squared. Here is my x. They tell you what x is, they tell you what y is. We're going to substitute, replace the variables with the values. Be careful, this square is with the y. So first thing I want to do is write negative 5 sixths times itself. That's what a square means. We have 3 numbers now. I can multiply straight across in the numerators, straight across in the denominators. Remember that negative should be pulled up with the numerator. Again, divide out common factors, and I'm just going to show you how they do that. The 3 and the 6 both divide by 3. Now remember, you can only do it once. You can't do it by this other 6. Okay, you can only divide out 1 in the numerator, 1 in the denominator. That's the only thing I can do. I like to circle it so I know which one I'm multiplying by. So 1 times 5 times 5, well, negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. When you multiply by another negative, you're going to get negative 25. 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 6 is 96. Because we already divided out common factors, and I went to the lowest form, that's going to be my answer. And again, it doesn't matter where the negative is, if it's in the numerator or right next to it, it's still the same number, as long as there is one negative. Remember when you're doing 5 through 8 to replace the variable with the number that they have up in the directions. And remember, when you have a number next to a variable, that means multiplication. Go ahead and pause the video, try 5 through 8, and then unpause to check your work. Number 5, divide out the 2's, negative 1 and 1. So you have positive 1, because 2 negatives make a positive, over 3. Negative 7 times 2/5. Make the negative 7 into a fraction over 1. Negative 14 over 5 becomes negative 2 4/5 when you turn it into a mixed number. Remember, simplifying is also changing improper fractions into mixed numbers. We're going to have 3 numbers for number 7. Now use the parentheses to show my multiplication, or you can use the dot. Divide out the common factors. Make it easier on yourself later. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And then 9 times 1 is 9. Negative 1/9. X squared is negative 1/2 times negative 1/2. Y is 2/5. Divide out common factors. And then multiply straight across. Negative 1 times negative 1 times 1. And 2 times 1 times 5. 1/10 is your answer.